Continuing our Wargaming Tactics 101, we've been exploring competitive play, tournament play, and even if you consider yourself a narrative wargamer, you're not into tournaments, I do recommend once or twice a year, of course, depending on the location and the size of your gaming group, to partake in a tournament, to play a little bit more competitive. Because with that additional pressure, in a good way, it's going to put you in the moment to try different tactica. And it's also going to allow you to try your tactica against different players, people that you might not play at your local club, store, gaming group. Tournaments tend to pull in a group of people from the gaming area. Now, within that framework, exploring some general wargaming tournament competitive play tactica, I want to look at a doubles tournament. Because a doubles tournament is very interesting. And I really like doubles tournaments because the more players of a game, the absolute better, the more fun that it is. And essentially in a doubles tournament, you have two players on each side. So instead of 1-to-1, it's two players on each side. What tactics can we look at, independent of the system, to help you win a doubles tournament? Now, we've got that framework. Most tournaments will give you a list with parameters. You have X number of points, squadron points, power points, currency, battle value, tonnage, support points, whatever that's going to be to build your list. So you and I are on the same team, and I have 1,000 points to build my list, and you have 1,000 points, whatever that currency is, to build your list. We come together and we play. Maybe you'll play your favorite army, and I'll play my favorite army. Some players, if we're looking to maximize the meta, the overall rules, they will design one army to work as efficiently as possible and essentially split it down the middle. You use one half of the army, I use the other half of the army. That says a lot about the tactica going in. And you can do that. That's kind of how very competitive players handle that. But I want to take a step back, inject a little bit of tricknology here, and show how optimization of the army in a doubles tournament isn't always necessary. You can play the army that you want to play, and your partner, your wargaming partner in the tournament, can play the army they want to play. Now, within that division, we're looking to do two things in a tournament, which is the same in a narrative game. We're looking to win the mission objectives, whatever that's going to be, and prevent our opponent, or in this case, opponents, from winning the mission objective done by removing models off the table. Remove their models off the table and make sure that whatever those mission parameters are, we are in the right place. So in order to do that, what we're going to do is one player, might be me, might be you, is going to build their army with the focus on going out, engaging, destroying, causing as many problems as possible for the other two players. Essentially, I'm going to build my list, or you're going to build your list. We're on the same team to focus on just removing enemy models. The other player on the team, maybe that's me, maybe that's you, is going to build a list, an army, just to win the mission objectives. Now, you might have a little bit of shooting and support, but essentially, whatever those mission objectives are, you're going to optimize your army for that. When we play the game, the person who has the job, the mission of going out and just causing as many problems as they can, removing models as they can, this takes a special type of focus, right? This takes a special type of focus. No one likes moving models, removing models. But playing this focus, where that's your job, by turn 3 or 4, you are going to be completely wiped off the table. You're going to get obliterated. And someone perhaps watching the game is going to be like, well, Fritz is hanging back doing nothing. He's just hanging out there. I mean, his models are adding a little bit of, his units are adding some shots, but he's hanging out. His partner here is just going out and getting crushed. Well, that's the objective. That focus is going to go out, cause as many problems, occupy, remove models, force through, in a good way, momentum and aggression, both of the other players both 50% of their armies making up the entire whole, to deal with this. If it's done right, by turn 4 or 5, they will have wiped you off the table and you will have caused significant damage. Can your gaming personality take that? Nobody likes to lose models, but this is a tournament, so we're looking at the bigger picture. We're looking to place on table 1, 2, or 3. We're looking to receive those accolades from our fellow wargaming enthusiasts to get that prize support from the store or the tournament or the club. Don't worry, your models will be back next game. Likewise, the person in support, mission objectives. You need to secure those mission objectives, whatever they're going to be. And you have to avoid the temptation to help out your partner or to go after that tabletop glory or go and try to destroy some units. Maybe you shoot them from a distance, you deal with other things, but it's that 50-50 split. And the tricknology point that I find what's interesting, we talked about the list, right? You've got an army. When you're playing an opponent in a narrative game, in a casual game, in a pickup game, right? They're pulling their miniatures out of their gaming case and you're looking and saying, okay, here's what they're playing. Here's what they're doing. You kind of get an idea of what the tactics are going to be, what they're going to try and do on the table. And then they try to implement it. Likewise, in a tournament, you're looking at your opponent's army and you're saying, okay, here's what they're going to try and do. Here's what we're going to see, right? You understand the meta of the system. So when you see an army that is clearly, it's a doubles tournament, supposed to be 2 armies, but clearly it's just one army split down the middle, you know exactly the approach that they're taking. And what many power gamers or meta gamers will do, they'll look at you and your partner's army, and it looks like 2 random armies, because you can really bring whatever you want. You're each focusing on one aspect of the game, 50-50, to win that tournament scenario. The tricknology is it looks like it's like, okay, these 2 guys rolled up. Their armies are just whatever they are. They entered the tournament. We're going to easily steamroll them. And people are used to not losing models or getting upset about it. So turn 1 and 2, when one player on your team goes out and aggressively looks to destroy models and throws their army out there, and the other side is focusing on it, and the other person on the team is just kind of hanging back with a little fire support, but doing the mission thing, I've noticed, because we've used this strategy to great effect in many doubles tournaments, there's a turn or two where you're trying to figure out, like, what's going on. It's like both these guys are not working together. Like, one's hanging back, one's out there being overly aggressive, and then by the time they start to realize, turn 3, turn 4, it's sometimes too late. So one of the ways to approach a doubles tournament, circling back to the Wargaming Tactics 101, for the longest time I was a narrative wargamer, historicals, DBA, DBN, even playing 40K. Then for a number of years, jumping into purely competitive play for Warhammer 40,000, purely competitive play for X-Wing miniatures, then jumping back to the narrative, and then, of course, jumping between the two. And even at the times where I considered myself a purely narrative player, I still did my best for once or twice a year to play in a tournament, to see what that would be like, to help my tactica in wargaming.